Welcome to the Darkstream. Voxday, voxday.blogspot.com, and of course, Archaven Comics, the Alt Hero Q campaign. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We've had a busy evening, busy day, and it's gone very, very well. So thanks, first of all, to everybody who made the Alt Hero Q campaign successful. I believe we're now over 110% of goal, and it's only day 3. So this is going extremely well. In fact, it's actually keeping pace so far. After the first 3 days, it's actually kept pace with the original Alt Hero campaign. The difference is that there are considerably more backers. And so I think that's really good news. And thanks to all of you who have backed the campaign. If you haven't backed it yet, I would encourage you to consider doing so. And I'm going to show you a few things later, both related to the campaign and also something that we're going to be releasing next week. Actually, now that I think about it, I need to show you 2 things, because there's actually something that we haven't announced that we've released, but we have actually put it out there. And so just a second, I'm just going to grab this here so that we can show it to you a little bit. Well, he just saw it there, but c'est la vie. So anyhow, thanks very much for the strength of the support. The legend Chuck Dixon appreciates it. The artists appreciate it. I appreciate it. This is really allowing us to take some serious steps forward in the cultural war. So, but let's talk about St. Jordan, because let's face it, at this point, Jordan Peterson is moving beyond. He's moving significantly beyond humanity. Now I told you guys in the Voxiversity video. I don't know if you've all seen it. I expect a lot of you probably have. But if you've seen the video that's called "The Madness of Jordan Peterson," then you'll understand that the guy is plain and simple a whack job. Okay, I'm not saying that lightly. I'm not saying that just because he's on medication. I'm not saying that because I'm jealous of him. I'm not saying that because I envy his popularity, his tenure at the University of Toronto, or anything. I'm saying that because the guy is literally crazy. Literally. It's astonishing that this guy hasn't ended up committed yet, and it will be even more astonishing if he doesn't end up committed, or worse. Let me quote you from his recent interview with Joe Rogan. So remember his whole thing, his very first, I think this was his first or second rule, is take your medications, take your drugs, right? So what has he done? He's changed his diet and stopped taking his drugs. So Jordan Peterson explained how his daughter's experience convinced him to eliminate everything but meat and leafy greens from his diet. In the last 2 months, he's gone full meat and eliminated vegetables as well. Since he changed his diet, just now all he's eating is meat. A laundry list of maladies has disappeared. His lifelong depression, anxiety, gastric reflux and associated snoring, inability to wake up in the morning, psoriasis, I can't pronounce that, gingivitis, floaters in his right eye, numbness on the sides of his leg, problems with mood regulation, all of it is gone. That's 9, maybe 10 symptoms, and he's fix them all by refusing to eat vegetables. He says, I'm certainly intellectually at my best. I'm stronger, I can swim better, and my gum disease is gone. Do you take any vitamins? Rogan asked. No, I eat beef and salt and water, that's it. And I never cheat, ever, not even a little bit. And he says, well, I drink club soda. Well, that's still water. Well, not when you're down to that level, no, it's not, Joe. Seriously, the guy has redefined God. He's redefined truth. He's redefined, he's questions what you mean by Jesus. And now he is literally redefining water. Dude, it's H2O. Whether it bubbles or not, it's still water. I mean, this is nuts. But wait, there's more. So, after redefining water, explaining that he only eats beef with salt, then he says, well, he's a negative story. He was incapacitated for a month by drinking apple cider. It took him out for a month, produced an overwhelming sense of impending doom. I seriously mean overwhelming. There's no way I could have lived like that. I didn't sleep that month for 25 days. I didn't sleep at all for 25 days. So then Joe Rogan says, what? How is that possible? I'll tell you how it's possible. You lay in bed frozen in something approximating terror for 8 hours, and then you get up. Okay. The longest recorded stretch of sleeplessness in a human is 11 days, according to Stanford research. Okay. So now let me point this out. If you have a 25-day stretch of terror and impending doom, and you cannot sleep for however long it wasn't 25 days. We know it wasn't 25 days, unless, of course, he has actually transcended the material plane, like L. Ron Hubbard, and is now doing his work beyond the limitations of the human body. If that happens from drinking apple cider, there is nothing wrong with your body. There is nothing wrong with your head. You are simply fucking insane. Okay? This guy is an utter and total lunatic. And so, now, just so you understand that this is not new, okay? I've been telling you that the guy is insane since I read his Maps of Meaning. All right. Now, a lot of you are now familiar because I brought your attention to it. A lot of you are now familiar with the whole, Jordan Peterson wants to bang his beautiful cousin and he dreams about cannibalizing her while the world is ending. If you notice, apocalyptic doom is a consistent theory about this. All right. So, this is also from Maps of Meaning. Okay, and buckle your seatbelts because this, some of you probably, if you've read it, if a few of you have read it, then you know where I'm going with this one. But trust me, if you think it's bad, if you thought the whole cousin thing was bad, just wait. Okay. Please keep in mind, I am reading from Jordan Peterson's Maps of Meaning. Okay. I dreamed I saw my maternal grandmother sitting by the bank of a swimming pool, which was also a river. Her genital region was exposed, dimly. It had the appearance of a thick mat of hair. She was stroking herself absent-mindedly. She walked over to me with a handful of pubic hair compacted into something resembling a large artist's paintbrush. She pushed this at my face. I raised my arm several times to deflect her hand. Finally, unwilling to hurt her or interfere with her any further, I let her have her way. She stroked my face with the brush gently and said, like a child, "Isn't it soft?" Okay, this guy has serious incest issues. This is not, every time he's dreaming about his female relatives, it has something to do with sex. And if you put this together with the fact that he was brought in to try to poo-poo and dismiss the idea that there was a official conspiracy to try to conceal some known child molesters in Canada, there is something very, very, very hinky going on in the Peterson family. If you look at this stuff, if you pay attention to this stuff, you realize the guy is an absolute nut job. I would guess, when you read that stuff, and if you're familiar with, for example, The Last Closet, written by Moira Greyland, who was abused by both her mother and her father, it is logical to conclude that Jordan Peterson was probably abused at some point in time by a female member of his family. And now we don't know what he did himself. Maybe he did nothing for himself. Maybe he was, just a victim. The man has clearly suffered greatly because of this. And we should, assuming that he remains solely on the victim side of it, which we don't know, but if he did, then he is deserving of pity. If the guy is messed up, he's messed up for a reason. And unfortunately, he hasn't been able to reach out to the one thing that can cure his spirit, that can cure his soul, and that is Jesus Christ. But keep this in mind. Now, do you seriously think I am saying this stuff because I am jealous of him? Are you jealous of him? Are you envious of anyone who would write that freaky shit? I have a lot of very positive memories about my grandmother. I've actually had a dream once about my grandfather after he died. And it was a very meaningful dream. It was a very emotional dream. When I woke up, apparently I had cried at some point during the dream. And you know what happened in the dream? I walked into my grandparents' house, the one that they had lived in when I was a child, and my grandfather was standing there, or sitting there actually, in this rocking chair he always sat in. And he stood up, and he shook my hand the way that he always had. And his hand felt exactly the way, he always had really soft hands. And which is kind of strange for a colonel of Marines. But anyhow, and then he just looked at me and smiled. That was it. And it was one of those dreams that you don't want to wake up from. He had died maybe 5 years before, and I think what might have provoked it was that my grandmother had died not too long before that. But the thing that was so intense about it was that it was like I was there. I mean, I remember it as clearly as I remember actual memories about my grandparents, my grandfather. But, that's a world apart from these, bizarre dreams about his grandmother putting her genitals in his face. Okay? And the thing that is particularly disturbing about that dream is if you read The Last Closet, there are descriptions of similar behavior, only it's not a dream. It was abuse. So, speaking as somebody who, is mentally stable and, was not abused by anybody as a child and that sort of thing, I don't have dreams like that. I don't spend 25 days in terror because I had a glass of apple cider. Now, maybe you do. Okay? I don't know. And I don't know anyone else who talks about this kind of stuff, writes about this kind of stuff, puts this stuff in public, and says, I have these wonderful thoughts that no one's ever thought before. The guy is a lunatic. And we have a pretty good idea of why. And so, keep this in mind. I want you to look that stuff up. I want you to read that. It's in Maps of Meaning. I want you to read the dream about his cousin. You read that, and you read about his dreams about his grandmother sticking her genitals in his face. And then you tell me, do you envy him? Do you really think I envy him? So, and this is also, somebody just said, you convinced me that his fans really never read his books. They don't. They don't. There's another question. Why haven't his mainstream opposition pointed out his ridiculous writings? Because they don't read it either. Peterson is a relatively intelligent guy, and he writes in this absolutely Joycean stream of citations that is very, very difficult to make your way through. Basically take 12 Rules of Life, think about how incoherent and stream of consciousness it is, and then start throwing in all these references to Jung and all these references to Plato and all these, and dreams about cannibalization and grandmother genitals and just, it's a trip. I'll say that for it. So anyhow, it's just insane. But perhaps we need to give Jordan some rules of life. Number 1, take your damn meds. Number 2, don't bang your cousin. Number 3, don't go down on Granny. Okay? It's absolutely nuts. I gotta tell you, I knew he was a charlatan the moment I started looking into him. I knew that immediately. You know, nobody lies and then doubles down on their lies if they have any intellectual integrity whatsoever. Okay, so I knew I was going to find something. I had no idea I was going to find this level of insanity. Okay, I looked into all these guys. I've looked into Sam Harris. I've looked into Richard Dawkins. I've found all their weaknesses. Not all of them, but I found a lot of their weaknesses. Okay? I have never dug into an intellectual figure and found this level of madness in anyone except Guy de Maupassant when he was going mad from syphilis. And so somebody just wrote, I know what my first tattoo will say. So somebody says, why are you so obsessed with him? Because you morons keep defending him. You morons are the ones who keep telling me that I'm wrong about him. And so I'm going to do, you said this is video number 10? I will do 1,000 videos until you morons admit the truth. Okay? I do not quit. Just ask John Scalzi. Just ask the new atheists. You know, if you guys had simply come out and said, you know what, Jordan Peterson is you know, he's a freak, he's a liar, but you know, I kind of like him anyhow. I would have left him alone. You know, I have no need, you know, to try to prove somebody's wrong on the internet. Everybody's wrong on the internet. It's no big deal. But what I am not going to tolerate is when I say, hey, 2 plus 2 equals 4, and you're going, no, 2 plus 2 is blue, and you're envious, and you're jealous, and you only say 2 plus 2 is 4 because you want to be like him. What the fuck? You know? Somebody said, where's the madness? Yeah, you need to, when the video's done, just watch it again. And I read some sections from Maps of Meaning. The madness is in Maps of Meaning. The madness is in Jordan Peterson's head. So, anyhow, so let's talk a bit about what's going on today with our stuff. Let me show you, first of all, Gun Ghoul 4 came out today. I don't think the cover's even showing up on Amazon yet, but if you want to check it out, it's available on Kindle and Kindle Unlimited. It's good stuff. And then we have coming very soon the new Alt Hero. And as you can see, we are going back to the European story. That's Captain Europa right there in the middle. And actually, this is not quite, I just realized this is not quite the finished image because the Antifa flag is not quite correct. We've already corrected that. But this is Alt Hero number 4, The War in Paris, the new cover. And if you're very, very sharp-eyed, you can probably, you can see there's a couple of other characters who appeared in the first one that are there. But this is really good. This may actually be my favorite cover that we've done so far. This is a reasonable question. Don't mean to be offensive, but if you have a 150 IQ, why can't you talk faster? I can talk faster, but if I did speak the way that I think, it would be almost incoherent. And so, generally speaking, I'm thinking about 3 times about every phrase that I actually say. You need to keep in mind that since 2001, every single word that I write and single word that I say is analyzed by people who want to discredit and disqualify and disemploy me. So I always need to be careful about what I say. Jordan Peterson actually says the same thing, and probably for much the same reason. The difference between us is that I am sane and he is not. So that's the, let's see, would you ever debate Richard Spencer? I have already agreed to debate Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer is afraid to debate me. We were both invited to have a debate, and it was by, it's one of my old Gamergate colleagues. It was Ethan. It was the, can't remember, the one with the skull and the crown. Thinking visually here. Anyhow, he invited us to debate. I said sure, and Richard did not want to do it. He just wanted to have a conversation. So I didn't see any point in that. Let's see here. Then we are, and this is of course from the current one. This is Alt Hero Q, and this is the first page. And then let's see. Here's some of the new stuff, or one of the new pages. This is page 3 of Alt Hero Q, and you can see that the activist or the operator, Roland Bain, has entered the house of the famous action actor Rip Braddock, and he is after something, which is why he has a gun pointed to his head. So I'll show you. We'll probably show you the color version in a day or two, but that's what the artwork for Alt Hero Q looks like. Halix is doing a great job, and that's why I think that and the fact that it's a great story is probably why it was funded in only 3 days. If you aren't backing Alt Hero Q yet, I'd encourage you to look at the link underneath the video, and you can back the campaign there. Join the 690 or so people who already have. Archaven Comics is making a big difference. Join the revolution. So, Vox, would you please beat up Joe Rogan in the ring for us? I think we're probably both a little bit old for that these days. What do you want to debate Richard Spencer on? I would debate him on his pan-European imperialism versus nationalism. Vox, what is your viewpoint on the alt-right? I support the alt-right as per the 16 principles of the alt-right. But you need to be careful. You can't use the media's definition of the alt-right because the media definitions are meaningless. Somebody raises a good point. Ben Shapiro talks fast to look smart, but when you look at what he's actually saying, none of it actually makes any sense. That's true, and a better indication is read people's writing. That's when they have the chance to say and articulate exactly what they have to say. What you'll notice is a lot of these guys who are popular because of videos don't really have much to say. And they're basically the secular equivalent of televangelists. Let's see. Ivan Throne is pretty awesome. Where we go one, we go all. There we have a QAnon. Dave Rubin fawns all over Jordan Peterson because Dave Rubin, I couldn't care less about Dave Rubin. I've literally never seen a thing he's done. I've never read a word he's written. I'm here for Alex Jones. What is your opinion of David Irving? I think that he is a solid historian who has been very, very shamefully and shabbily treated for being iconoclastic. I can't speak for whether his historical claims are true or not. I'm not a historian and I'm not an expert in the World War II era. But, you know, I'm very dubious that, you know, if his case was so wrong, they wouldn't have to throw the law at him. I backed the original Alt Hero hardcover, so I missed out on delivery of the digital issues. You should be receiving the digital issues. Send me an email, or more importantly, send me your email, but also, Justin, also check your spam and social, because almost everybody who isn't getting the emails with the digital links has been sent the email. They're spam trapped or something. What do you think about the connection between Marxism and National Socialism that Q talked about? Well, there is a connection. You know, National Socialism is Marxism is international socialism. National Socialism obviously is a national version. But you need to understand, Marxism is not the only socialism. There's Fabian socialism. There's Gramscian socialism. There's all kinds of different socialisms. And to claim that National Socialism was the opposite of Marxism is totally false. Where did you get that awesome chair? This is my grandfather's chair. He left it to me. This used to be in his office. Would you debate Stefan Molyneux on the existence of the Christian God? Certainly, if Stefan wanted to. I honestly, I haven't talked to Stefan or heard from him in a while, so I don't really even know what he's up to. Someone says, patiently waiting for number 4 in Avalon 2. You might have missed this. This is the cover of Alt Hero number 4, or pretty close to what the final cover will be, and it is going to be out next week, most likely Monday. Let's see here. Vox, do you own any cryptocurrency? I never answer questions like that. Let's see. Stalin was practically a National Socialist. Yeah, in the end, afterwards, without question. So anyhow, well, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, St. Jordan no longer requires food or sleep. He's either a complete madman or he's going to be canonized. So in any event, I will look forward to seeing you all the next time. And keep away from Granny. Have a good evening.